Hi, I'm George Pino, the CEO of Commercial Brokers International, and today I have with me Ari Mencias, and I asked her to come in. She's actually one of our agents here at Commercial Brokers International. She specializes in retail sales and leasing in the West Hollywood and Beverly Hills market, and I really wanted her to come in because I've been getting a lot of questions lately about what landlords are looking for when it comes to new tenants coming into their properties. How do they vet them out? And more importantly, what should a new tenant or even a new business coming in look to do to put their best foot forward to ensure that they do get a space that they have interest in?
Good question, George. Well, first of all, with the moratorium still in place, we like to make sure that our potential tenants have their documents all in order. First of all, we will, before the showing, we like to now prepare with financial statements. That would be P&Ls, that will be
Tax returns,
last 2 years of tax returns, and bank statements. Company, and sometimes if it's a newer company, we'd like to go off of personal statements and personal tax returns. Then we like to make sure that they have a website, social media up and running already. Sometimes they can show us sort of like the type of product that they're going to be selling if it's retail, or what type of food they're interested in cooking prior to setting up an appointment for any of these showings. We want to make sure that this property will actually fit their use and needs for the property.
Okay, that makes sense, absolutely. One of the things I always talked, when I was getting into the business, I was talking to some of the clients and where I was doing a little bit more of the leasing side, I always got some questions about, well, why do they want so much security for me? My rent's only $5,000 a month or so, and this is a while ago, if you couldn't tell. And I always explained to them, it looks like it's $5,000 a month, but commercial leases tend to be long-term. So if it's a 5-year lease, that $5,000 a month with increases is really about $325,000 credit that the landlord's extending to them. So they want to make sure that tenant really qualifies for that.
Absolutely. Sometimes we ask for a little bit more, or actually I like to stand on the landlord's point of view or stand on his side and try to understand put the potential tenant on their side and say, how would you feel if we were bringing your business into this property? How would you protect yourself? Is it a double security deposit? Are you going to bring any money, any value into this property? What type of equipment are you going to add in here? So there's so much that we bring in an intake to start to negotiate the lease, the price, the TIs, the rent concession.
Okay, so it sounds like it, and because I completely understand how landlords are going to use the whole picture to really understand what the rental rate's going to be versus, I see this every day on the investment side where, a rental rate for a credit rated tenant, that's S&P AA minus is going to be lower than a tenant that's a new startup that's, just has maybe 5 or 10 locations or a franchisee. So I see that and I completely understand that. But what I'm hearing from you is that it almost sounds like the landlords also want to make sure that the tenants have an understanding of their business, that they planned ahead. It's not just I want to open up, like, let's say, a restaurant, and they've never had a restaurant before. So what are other ways that they can show? Maybe a business plan.
Absolutely.
Or maybe past history. If they may not own and operate a restaurant, maybe they were the executive chef of one or a general manager.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
maybe their experience, maybe a bio.
Sure.
Some type of resume.
Great idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we go off of references too. So we can always use references, but they have to be extremely strong references. And
Not your mom and dad.
No, no.
No.
Someone with an established business that we can contact, maybe the previous landlord. But we want to make sure that, number one, your finances are in place. Number two, the business plan is put together and it's really well, and you have someone that's going to back you up with finance as well.
Okay.
That would be a great way to back them up.
Like an investor coming in, or someone that will guarantee the lease as well.
Yeah, maybe
co-guarantor. Yeah.
That.
Okay. Now, So it sounds like, the key parts right now for a landlord, they want to kind of understand the securitization, they want to understand the business plan. They probably want to they care a little bit about what the actual business is as well. Is it going to, come in involved, or are they going to invest in the building, with their own tenant improvements?
Absolutely. So first of all, we want to make sure that this business that's coming into the property will be a good fit for the property. If we already have some type of laundromat on property, we want to make sure that this is going to add more foot traffic. So it could either be retail, or it could be some type of food business that's going to come in.
Something that complements the other property. So, and they don't, obviously
they're not competing against
the
each
landlord,
other.
they don't want to cannibalize off your clients, so they want to make sure that the businesses kind of work together.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. I have seen some specialty type retail though that has maybe 5 or 6 restaurants, and that's all it is, and they tend to do well, but that's more of like probably more of a destination retail where it's like I'm going for almost like a food hall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that there's a variety on
Mhm.
there, so it could be a same restaurant, but it cannot be the same type of
Same
restaurant.
type of food,
like
sure.
Asian, pizza, chicken fingers, which is really popular right now. Something that's going to, that they're going to help each other out, but not compete against each other, because then you wouldn't be a good landlord.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, because, ultimately I think landlords are very much co-aligned with the success of their tenants.
Absolutely.
So they want to ensure everything that they can do. So, I know in the past I've had clients like, well, why can't I do this? And you sit down and explain that they're protecting their other tenants that are there as well. They may have exclusive uses in the leases for that. And, that's why they're carving out certain things.
Absolutely. Coffee is one of them.
Coffee is one of them, absolutely. I used to do, I still do actually, leasing for some of the other larger companies, and I know that certain companies will try and, they come in as the 800-pound gorilla and try and use their strength of the size and try and block out everybody. So, even companies like, for instance, McDonald's, which is traditionally hamburger, they'll try and throw in no chicken use clauses because they sell chicken sandwiches, but they're trying to keep competitors from coming in. So that's something to be aware of, I think, what you can ask for and what you can't, but also understand that, if you're just a new startup, you're probably not going to get a lot of that as well. So really it sounds like a lot of it's education. It's
Absolutely.
just making sure everyone knows,
Yeah. And communicating.
Education, communicating, and having everything ready. Because this way when a landlord does ask, because a landlord will, for the finances, instead of saying, oh, I haven't seen them, when we ask for them and get them, and it takes a week to do that, which allows more time for someone else to step in.
That's another thing.
If you have it ready and available, it looks to me that you're already in you're putting your best foot forward as a business person, that, I've thought of this ahead of time. And that's the type of landlord or type of tenant I would want if I'm a landlord.
Exactly. I've had some prospective tenants come along lately, and there's one thing that I always tell them. I said, we have to get these documents prepared prior to doing the showing sometimes, because now that things are open, there's a lot of competition up there, and we have to, do the showing and make sure that we have all of these documents ready before even going, because right after the showing, if they like the location, we want to make sure that we're first in place with our LOI and all of the documents in place, prepared for the landlord.
Well, one thing I've noticed for almost every tenant, investor, just about anybody in real estate, is that the prime real estate spots are always in demand, and people that know what they're doing know exactly that these are prime. So if you want them, realize that other people probably do as well, and that you need to have all your ducks in a row, so to speak, to be able to jump on it and make sure that you get it first, and you are the one there that the landlord wants.
We love to be the first one
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming in and helping me and, helping our subscribers know. Speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. And if you have any questions, please reach out to either myself or to Ari. Both of our contact information is down below here, and I look forward to any further questions you guys may have. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.